everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been a warm one the last few days, hasn't it? It's been really awesome. Oops, sorry, got my phone working on the other side. That's my sound check. That's how I know if it's working. The delay causes some discomfort when you're doing the broadcast. It's about 20 seconds, sometimes 15, between what I'm doing and what's coming across the internet. And so if I have no sound or there's an issue with the stream, it takes 15 seconds for anybody to see it or hear it. And then, they'll sit and listen for a couple minutes to make sure it's not them. And then they comment. So there's another 15 or 20 seconds before I see it. And so now we got darn near a minute gone by me talking into nothing. So what I do is I put my phone on real quiet, and that was a little too loud. And that way I know it's working at that moment. And then I can turn it off and feel. Anyway, I just went through the high technical part. So when I always laugh because Tom will say, comment if you hear me. And I think to myself, okay, it's 30 seconds out at least for we have a resolution to this. Let's see who we get with us this morning. We have Tom Donnelly's with us this morning. Good morning, Tom. And Steve Punter. Oh, crap. I almost did something dumb. Hello. Good morning, Steve. Chris Conley, good morning. Chuck B's here. Shalom, gentlemen, he says. And Ken Gooch is here. And also Bert Reggiani. It's always good to see Bert. All right. And I think that's all we have. It says we have 10 people online, though. So there may be more comments coming in. Check on the bottom part of the screen right there, and it'll tell you. I got to learn how to point. It's not quite the same as pointing to the spot on the screen because you got to kind of come in from above like that. Anyway, I'll stop yammering. Psalm 80. This is a heartfelt cry for help, really. It's a psalm of Asaph, who, I was curious yesterday. I looked it up to see who he was. He was a worship leader, a songwriter, a musician during the time of David. And many of his psalms are in the book, as we would say. Good morning, Dave. Glad to have you with us. This is every week it's the same with these psalms. It's been hard because you look at them and they're so similar. They're prayers, and they're there's during times of trouble and there's times of joy, but they're all similar. And so when I look at them in the first part of the week, when I look at them, I go, what am I going to talk about today? I mean, because you kind of, it's, we're on Psalm 80. So there's a bunch of them, and the similarities are there, but they're all unique. in every single one of them, you'll find something that kind of triggers you a little bit, which is kind of cool, right? Sorry, I left that up. Anyway, so today's psalm, Israel is the Assyrian army has come in from the north and taken over the northern part of Israel, the tribes of Manasseh, Benjamin, and Ephraim. So he's crying out. He's crying out for restoration, I guess to be the good word. Yeah, restoration. And so let's pull it up and see. Wait a minute. Shift. Look at me. So technical. Anyway, I found I like this one better because I'm smaller and I'm not sure my hair's straight. But neither of which I can read from my screen, which is hilarious. Oh, I'm way off. And I must have been reading through it again this morning. Hold on one second. Here we go. We're almost there. For the director of music, to the tune of the Lilies of the Covenant of Asaph, of Psalm. Hear us. Hear us. I love that. It's this. He said it a lot yesterday too in the Psalm. Hear us, shepherd of Israel. You who lead Joseph like a flock. Oh, I know what's different. Hold on one second. It's all this technical stuff. There we go. Give ear that was the phrase I was looking for, because that was what I saw yesterday, and Tom mentioned it too. A great way of saying hear us or listen, and I just give ear. I thought that was fascinating. Oh, shepherd of Israel, you who lead Joseph like a flock, you who are enthroned upon the cherubim, shine forth. Okay, now this is how we get the thing that it's about the northern territory. Joseph's tribe. He didn't have his own tribe. But his broke up between his two sons, right? Now, yeah, Ephraim, no, three sons, Benjamin and Manasseh. So that's where they're talking about the northern kingdoms, who are enthroned upon the cherubim shine forth, you who are enthroned. I love that phrase, enthroned upon the cherubim. He's talking about God. And what he's talking about with the enthroned on the cherubim is the mercy seat. And the mercy seat is that area on top of the ark that was two cherubim facing each other, and there was a gold plate in between them. And that was the place that they considered where God resided. And in the mercy seat were the cherubim on each side. And so when I hear that, I see this way of wording, it's kind of cool. Shine forth before Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh. Stir up your might and come to save us. Restore us, O God. Let your face shine that we may be saved. Where's that face shining? We hear that every single Sunday. We hear it at the end of the service. It's kind of an echo of the Numbers 6 verse that Tom uses for the closing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Aaronic blessing was common to these people. That was what did I just do? All right, it was something that it was not unusual for them to hear that, and for us, we look at that as a really cool closing prayer or blessing. And how many of us really have heard it other than that? That's the thing. We used to use it in our youth group when years and years, a million years ago, when Dan and I were youth leaders. That was our closing prayer. And we had it on a big, huge printer. The old printers where the old dot matrix printer, the paper was all one big stream and you had to tear them off. Well, we made a banner that went all the way around one side of the room, and it had that on there, so the kids didn't have to memorize it. That was the thought anyway. turned out that the leaders needed to read it more than the kids. O Lord of hosts, how long will you be angry for your people's prayers? Why would you be angry about prayers? Maybe because the prayers were empty. Maybe because they were praying one thing and living in another way. Could be a good reason for them not to be thrilled with the prayers. Have you fed them with the bread of tears and given them tears to drink in full measure? Wow. You make us an object of contention for our neighbors, and our enemies laugh among themselves. It's God's protection's gone. All those years that God stood with them and guarded them and protected them, now they're having to deal with it on themselves, and it's not easy, and it's hard, and conflict and war is tough. We see it even today. Restore us, O God of hosts. Let your face shine that we may be saved. He's praying again. He said, please restore us. Bring us back. But you brought us a vine out of Egypt. You drove out the nations and planted it. You cleared the ground for it. You took deep root and filled the land. The mountains were covered with its shade and the mighty cedars with its branches. It sent out its branches to the sea and shoots to the river. He's talking about the nation of Israel. He was talking about how he cleared out the land and how they spread far and wide throughout the land of Israel to all the way to the sea. And so this is something he's talking about what God did. And he says, "What you've done this." And now he's asking him, "Why have you broken down the walls?" He said, "All who pass along this way will pluck its fruit. The boar from the forest ravages it, and all that move in the field feed on it. Turn again, O God of hosts. Look down from heaven and see. Have regard for this vine." He's begging God at this point to think about this vine. I love the way he says it. Have regard for this vine, the stock that your right hand planted, for the son whom you made strong for yourself. They have burned it with fire. So what you've done, God, these people have destroyed. They've torn apart. They have cut it down. May they perish at the rebuke of your face. All this, he's looking to God and he's questioning God, really, if you think about it. Why something that you created, that you did all the work, and now you're just turning your back on it and allowing it to be torn down and burned? And he's got questions, there's no doubt. We all sometimes struggle with the questions of why, and this is a big one for him. But let your hand be on the man of your right hand. Whoa, what's this? And the Son of Man whom you made strong for yourself. So this is a reference to the Son of Man. Even back in the time of David, they knew that someone was coming. Even during the time of David, they knew that the person that was coming wasn't going to be a human completely. I mean, there's no way he could sit at your right hand. But Asaph, during the time of David, knew that there was somebody coming. And this is something that kind of slipped by me the first 10 times I read this, but it's there. If it was going to be completely human, it could have been David. God loved him. But the Son of Man who you have made strong for yourself. We can't look by that without realizing what he's talking about. Then we shall not turn back from you. Give us life, and we will call upon your name. Restore us, O Lord, God of hosts. Let your face shine that we may be saved. Okay, now that's what we have, right? That's a lot, and I get it. But the final promise and this is what I just want to just for a second touch on it, because how did he say it? Oh, crap. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Then we shall not turn back from you. Give us life, and we will call upon your name. All right. We shall not turn back from you. the time, we look at it through the lens of history and time, and we realize that was a promise they didn't keep. They were good for a time, then they weren't. They repented for a while, then they didn't. We're talking hundreds of years. The people that made these promises were no longer here. The people that were around when Asaph made this psalm were long gone. They were with their father. And the people come along after him generations later failed. And it was this is a song by Casting Crowns that I've always loved. And we talk about sin isn't an immediate change. Sin doesn't take us and say one day you're one way and then the next day you're a whole different person and you're awful. They call it a slow fade because it becomes a part of you and it slowly seeps into every little nook and cranny. And I think that is what we overlook sometimes is how destructive it can be and how it can touch your life without you even realizing it. It's like the slow boil of a lobster. They talk about it, or was it frogs? They did. You put them in the water. If you throw them boil in water, they'll jump out. But if you put them in the water and heat it to boiling, they'll die because we don't notice the change in us, and we think we're still the same, but we're not. So how do we apply this to our life or even our country? As a matter of fact, there's a lot of us worry about our country because it's like this. But what about our lives? When times get tough, do we sit down and turn to God? Or when times are good, do we do that? When life is complicated or there's major disappointment, or maybe we get bad news, who do we turn to first? Our best friend or our best friend in heaven? I think if we take anything from this verse is when in our lives, I don't want to go any point in one thing, but we need to look to God first. I got to go because, I'm rubbing on other people's time and I appreciate everything. Just had a lot to say today, I guess. So, have a firmly rooted day, gentlemen, and may someone see Jesus in you today. Peace.